Hello, everyone. This is Victoria. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, RTT practitioner, and a mindset coach. Welcome to Embodied Shift. John and I explore real change where subconscious healing meets higher guidance.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jonna, intuitive coach. My work's about remembering who you are and trusting your inner knowing. And today's question is, how do we break the cycle of emotionally unavailable partners? Coming from, for me, an energy standpoint, again, it would be I am my point of attraction. So for me, it's about me being emotionally available as well for me to attract a partner that is emotionally available to me. And that's not always an easy process because there's a lot of healing that would require for you to be really emotionally available to attract the same energy. This allows, for someone to be in a place where they're wanting healing from whatever traumas that they have, the abandonment that they've experienced. We all have that. I remember my mom, actually, I think it happened twice in my life early on when my sisters left me. Well, because of the scheduling, they actually didn't fetch me to go home. So I was crying going home and I was in a tricycle for whatever reason. I know how to get home, and I was probably in kindergarten. And then I also remember very vaguely when I was in on a vacation with my mom. I was sleeping, I was napping, and she went out to go somewhere to buy something. And then I looked out and I was crying and I was looking for her because I was scared.
Mhm,
And so even if so there's a lot of that guarding on my energy.
mhm,
So I kind of have to guard myself to not go there, you know, to not be relying on someone, especially emotionally, because that would look like for me when you say emotionally available is I want them to be there for me. I want them to know how to make me feel better when I'm not feeling better. So again, for me, it's really working on myself energy wise that I trust that the universe, God would provide someone for me who's able to do that because I could recognize that. But it's
mhm,
not as simple as that because I think when you're coming from a place of energy, you're no longer questioning that person's emotional availability because it would look so different for everybody. Your partner might think, oh, I'm being there for her, but the language is different. There's a love language, right? If your gift
mhm.
is a love language, then if your partner knows that and acknowledge that, and they will be giving you gifts so you feel love, right? But what if service is your love language and the other person's love language is something else? So how do we break that? For me, it's really understanding myself and then having, if I'm on dates, right? It's really honestly getting to know that person and see how they are without diving into something big right away. So it's not really guarding, but it's wanting to be in the same energy, in the same frequency. Because I'm not saying, oh, I have to guard myself because I don't want to get hurt. That's not going to be in my mind, but it's more of an intention of creating something that we're going to be both aligned. So if I do set an intention and knowing like what I know about myself, how I'm growing, and I know I'm still going to be growing and I'm still going to be evolving. So that changes, right? So then when I'm putting myself out there, if I'm not in a relationship and wanting to be with someone who's going to be emotionally available for me, that honesty, really trying to know yourself and not having that energy of just wanting to co-create with someone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's actually this question is just resonates. And I've asked these questions a lot myself, because you said something, right, about the energy when you have that energy of being emotionally available. I thought I was very emotionally
Mhm.
available. I
Mhm.
think if not, I was giving too much of
Mhm.
it, right? Being empathetic and all that as a
Mhm.
therapist, right?
Mhm.
So I've been really giving, and the person eventually will realize, yeah, he's emotionally unavailable. So how do we break that? Um, and I've realized this after quite a while. So how do we break this cycle? We go back to what kind of attention, love we receive when we're a child.
Mhm.
And now thinking about this, my parents, they weren't available a lot of times. They own a restaurant and they leave in early in the morning. They come back
Mhm.
late in the evening. I'm not late, but they didn't have time for us.
Mhm.
So I think looking back to that, from a clinical hypnotherapist perspective, I can understand now that talking about the energy that you've mentioned. So I did, or probably still attracting that kind of energy because my nervous system is searching for that familiarity, right?
Mhm.
So now, how do I break that? Now I know how could a person having that first-hand experience, I
Mhm.
could say that if that person is not giving you the time, even you already asked for it, and it's also not because of you. They have, like you said, they have their traumas, they have their experiences in their childhood that they didn't get, right? The attention, the love. So it's not because every good ones are taken.
Mhm.
They're just going through things that they haven't really worked on yet. So for me to break that patterns easily, I can I can sense, I would be able to sense, I would be able to see, I would be able to feel if that person it's like they're hot and cold, not very consistent,
Mhm.
right? So, and I know a lot of my friends, a lot of people that I know also, they have this same issues with their partners. They're emotionally unavailable. So what I would say then that rather than asking why am I attracting them, this kind of people, just look within, look inside, and even just remember what they said about their childhood, right? So I think start there. You can actually see the you can see the answer. Look at your childhood and look at their childhood,
Mhm.
right? So, um, and again, I would just I think again that the nervous system is that's what I'm looking for. All this the familiarity of that the feeling of not having the attention, enough attention with my parents when I was growing up.
So on an energetic standpoint is healing definitely needs to happen. So
Absolutely.
your nervous system needs to heal,
Mm-hmm.
your subconscious programming needs to heal and to trust that you are already love, that you are worthy of love, that you know everybody's going to be able to emotionally cater to you. So you're not chasing it because you're being it. And so when you're being it, then it's easy, that would how the attraction would happen. It's I've seen this so many times with, myself, my life. When there's something else that's not, I always ask myself, why is this still happening to me? Whether it's financial abundance, whether, better relationships, not just, with partners, but, family members of everybody around me. Like, what is the healing that needs to happen?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to learn? So then I can change this story. Changing the story is so key in attracting the right people in your life. Because again, that's the nervous system, the programming, what you're attracting. And so once you heal that wound, you know, once you heal that wound, and then you can start being free and you're welcome new energies, new opportunities in life. So I think that's really important to acknowledge and be self-aware
Mm-hmm.
because most of the time we don't even know, we don't go back to why are we doing this, why do we make this decision, why do I keep making a decision to be with someone who's emotionally unavailable. So once we identify that, that's actually a great win to even ask yourself that question on why that's happening in your life and then healing what needs to be healed and be excited again. That's that energy of excitement of creating something new, of having a new story. And so I would want everybody to ask themselves, what is my story for 2026? Is it going to be I'm going to be with the most loving partner I've ever had? Like what is your story?
Mm.
And journal that, write that, like feel it in your body, like go out feeling that you're already with someone who's so in love with you and that you being so in love with yourself. So for the month of love, like I think it's a good invitation for everybody to just feel so much love in your heart and to allow for a new story and write that down, like really fantasize, create a script like a movie and fall in love with that. And that's all energy. That person is gonna just show up.
We don't know when, but
Or
it's
where, but
or where,
yes.
but it's gonna show up. Fall in love with yourself. That's a beautiful phrase. How would you? What do you think? Or what do you think? How could a person How do you feel that? How do you feel, or what do you do being falling in love with yourself?
For me, the way that I know that am really, showing up for me and I'm in love with me is when with my interactions, like it's how I make the decisions. Do I interact with someone if they're making me not feel good? Like even my interactions with anybody, with my partner, I would always try to get to a place where if the conversation's not feeling good, then I'm okay to not have that conversation for now
Hmm.
and find myself again in a place of alignment. So I'm not pushing things. So I'm always self aware. Like, was something that's being said to me? Is that really the reality? How do I choose to respond to that? Do I respond in a loving way or do I react? If I'm able to respond to a loving way, I know that's a win for me. That's loving myself because my energy is still in alignment. And if I'm choosing to be very reactive, then I know I have to work on getting to an alignment. Because I've seen it so many times. I've seen so much evidence where if I'm not feeling happy, if I'm not in a happy frequency, then my life quickly changes. There's more unexpected things that I have to handle that are supposedly unnecessary. Like they're like just annoyances. So for me, falling in love with me is really staying in alignment, is staying in a happy frequency, in a happy space for me, and holding my power. Because you know, if I'm in an unhappy relationship, then it's making a decision to be not in that relationship. So that's loving myself. And if I can't get my place to to make that decision now, I'm also loving myself when I would say, I trust that the universe is just going to show me the way. And then that relationship would just dissolve and then bring me to a better relationship. So for me, loving myself is always choosing to be in a happy place.
Happy place.
Yes.
I will try that a bit more, I guess, to be in that happy place. Not to be honest though, even though I would tell myself, um, be in that place where you're happy or energetic or excited. There are just times that it's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought and I do have a lot of tools, but still there are just moments that it's really hard to pass that.
And the best self love and falling in love with yourself as a practice is when you are in those moments
Mm,
to acknowledge those and still love yourself. We're humans, it's never going to be perfect, but we're making a choice. Just in that perspective, the jump from like a happy frequency doesn't have to be big. It doesn't seem like every day, like I was so happy. I think I had last week, I was able to make it on a workout that's at 6 a.m. because I'm busy. This was Friday because I'm busy the whole day, even with lack of sleep. And I was so happy. I was so proud of me, right? So I celebrate those moments. But there's also the other week, I couldn't make it for a couple of days to the gym. I also celebrated those because it's a decision that came from my heart. So the jump from super happy, you don't have to be super energetic. You allow yourself to stay in bed, get more sleep, and in your perspective, I just know if I get more sleep, then I would perform better, like when I wake up. So always making that choice is being aware to where you are and setting an intention where you want to see yourself next. What's not loving to yourself is not being aware, just letting it go and just letting life, you know, someone else like that energy dictate your life instead of you making choices for you. So if you're like tired and you just decide to, just not do anything healthy for you or to make you happy, and you stay there for like days and months, and you're not even telling yourself
Mhm.
good things, right? If you're like the programming that's running is just all about you're unworthy, you're always going to be like this. Even just saying, even just fighting those thoughts, not fighting with them, but even just telling those thoughts, watch, just even challenging them is already a win and choosing yourself.
Mhm. So what would you give to our viewers, listeners, just a point or two, just to for them to get out of that rut, right? If they're
Mhm.
feeling not having energy or
Mhm.
motivation um, from time to time, or
Mhm.
maybe even every day,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What would you tell them?
Allow it and acknowledge it and neutralize the energy. No judgment to yourself. Make a choice to start loving conversations with yourself. And when you fail, don't just tell yourself it's over. Keep fighting back, even slowly. Just getting up a little bit if it's just too much. Like
Mhm,
just maybe even just making it to the couch if you're
mhm,
already in bed. And then when you make it to the couch, celebrate yourself
mm.
because a celebration of energy is great energy. And gratitude is an energy that would take you so
Oh,
much
I love
more.
that. I love that.
And
That's
then
really
when you
beautiful.
get yourself to the couch, get
Yeah.
yourself outside and go for a walk, even if it's just on your front door. And again, celebrate yourself and be grateful. Because the more you see of an evidence of you showing up for yourself, your brain, you won't be able to control it. It would go there. But it's important to set those intentions, to be aware of where you are and honor them, and still love you for having these experiences. And then celebrate and be grateful for the small wins.
And you saying that celebrate, right?
Mhm.
Celebrate little things,
Yes.
um, just doing little things really. I found it very empowering, even just like you said, getting up in the morning
Mhm.
and go to the kitchen, do something, make tea, make coffee, whatever,
Mhm.
right? And then eventually it's like, oh, I feel good. Now I'm going to go to the gym or whatever, take a walk,
Mhm.
right? You would feel that energy, like, oh, I can do more actually,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So yeah, this is just a beautiful. All the things that you said was so helpful, and so yeah, so how to break the patterns. So that's a good one there, right? To
Mhm.
break the patterns, we start from ourselves,
Mhm.
right? We that awareness that you
Yes,
mentioned.
awareness is key to break that pattern because if you're not aware,
Mm-hmm.
then you won't be able to take any actions on it.
Right, right. So, is there any more um addition, thoughts, wisdom that you might want to share?
As I would always say, we are our point of our attraction. And once we are aware of the work of energy, and once we connect the dots, when we're able to connect the dots to what's happening to our life, being aware of what's happening to us internally, and connect the dots while what's happening with us outside. And once you see the connection, you would always want to choose, a happier frequency. You always want to, because you're experiencing it,
Hmm.
and you're seeing more magic and miracles in your life, and you almost like get addicted to it. It's a new way of living when you're working in, on energy work. It's a new way of looking at things
Mm,
because there's more surrender to it.
right.
Because we always feel like it's so heavy because we feel like it's willpower. That's how we will get through this. It's just, and I use willpower all the time. But it gets lighter when we know that we're always supported by the divine. We get lighter when we trust that once we know the formula of energy, there's nothing wrong or bad. It's not like people are rewarded more for something and you're not. So the way that you like change the way that you see things, the perspective of looking at it, it's gonna be so crystal clear, and your nervous system would relax because you're no longer going to judge and say it's easy for them because they have this. It's easy for them because they didn't have a bad childhood.
Mm,
Because then you're gonna say, okay, this is all energy work, and we're all equal in this energy.
hmm.
And then we're in this energy, it's all about love, and we are love. And so we're all winning. So that would be, that would be something that I would love to share, and which is also the reason why, we're doing this. So, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
is there
Mhm.
anything else, Rebecca, that you would want to share before we end?
I suppose again, I'm saying this from my personal experience.
Mhm,
So, because I just recently walked away from someone who checked all the boxes. We're
mhm,
talking about well, who check all the boxes on paper, but couldn't show up emotionally, right?
mhm,
So, and but I've done the work. I've done the work, and it might took me a little while to walk away from that. But oh, I've learned a lot of lessons. So I would just want to share this. Just recognize the pattern,
mhm,
and if you see that pattern, oh, I'm doing this again,
mhm,
and this person is giving me breadcrumbs, and I'm making a meal out of it. So, meaning, don't stay in that space where you're just getting breadcrumbs, right? And and also, I always tell my clients about this. We don't heal what we don't understand. We cannot heal what we don't understand. So, like what Jonna mentioned, recognizing the patterns, being aware of what's happening right around you, I think it's a great start,
Mhm.
right? I think just keeping that in your mind. We cannot heal what we don't understand, and we're here, right? So me as a clinical hypnotherapist and Jonna as energy intuitive um, coach. This is just a tremendous partnership that we're doing. So we're here for you guys if you have any questions or comments, and also if you wanna wanna do that deep work either with Jonna or with me, you have our
Yeah,
information
or
to
together.
or
Um,
together
yeah,
exactly.
we're
Oh,
actually, yeah.
that would be so powerful. Oh my gosh, can you
Yeah, we're
imagine?
actually in the future we're working on a seminar that will hopefully you guys will join, or we're going to do some work together. Um, so then it's a formula of the subconscious and the higher, guidance. It's gonna be, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And I can't wait for that, really. It's gonna be so I'm excited already about it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just your modality and my modality in one place, right? That is gonna be absolutely amazing. So I
Well,
think we can wrap this up, and thank you all so much for spending your time with us. Such a great conversation, I think.
well, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your precious time, and I hope that there's something that you guys have, learned somehow in this conversation and that you'll be practicing. And till next time, let's shift together.
Bye for now. See you all soon. Bye bye.